Welcome everyone to the monthly technical steering committee of the open source project EVerest. Before we get started, quickly show the antitrust policy notes. And this time Pete has to click. Thank you. The highlights of the month are we have the first stable release candidate of all the great new EVerest with monorepo, with Basecamp extensions. So it's a really massive release, and it took a while to get there, but we're finally there. We have the JSON RPC API module merged. We have a Yocto layer also merged into monorepo. We got a skeleton for IEEE 2030.1.1, which is basically char demo as far as we can tell. That's at least what the standard claims from himself. And we finally applied for the open invention network. But let's go through this. First, show the antitrust policy quick, because there might be competitors here in the room, so please behave. And yeah, then let's dive directly in, and I will hand over to Pete.
Yep, we start with the core updates. So here's a list of things that we have added in the past month. We added wildcard handling for external MQTT messages that was working before a refactor of the message handling in the framework, and now it is enabled again. We removed the requirement to provide at least one interface from the manifest. Quite some modules actually provided only an empty interface. It's not required anymore. We have added a software voltage plausibility check for DC charging. So in case the over voltage monitoring on the low level side for some reason does not trigger, there's also software check for this. Quello helped with updating to Basel 9. Marco already mentioned that we have integrated Meta EVerest into the monorepository in EVerest Core. So there's now a Yocto subfolder in EVerest Core where you can find the Yocto support for ScarfGap, and there is already a pull request to also add Kirkstone to it. ChargeByte added a PR to add support for the CP state E if the BSP supports it. There had been some adjustments to Basel also for the monorepository, and the RPC API pull request from ChargeByte has now been merged, which is also very important for the release, because the JSON RPC API is also becoming one of the APIs that will be kept stable and maintained in the upcoming release. On the cloud communication side, we are still more on the refactoring side to actually combine the protocol versions in a way that runtime switching and also storages are similar for the different versions. It was quite a large refactoring to add a new interface for OSPP 1.6 for the configuration. And there was also one issue where the connection retry mechanism did not work. That was related to the message queue that could happen in rare cases. That has been fixed. We are still working on the storage migration so that you can use the same storage basically for 1.6 as for 2.x. And we have also received first contributions from Compleo for OSPP 2.1. The pull request for Q11 and Q12 is already open and currently under review, and Q09 will follow soon. That's what we heard from them.
Quick question, Q09, that is all in the bidirectional charging
yes,
module?
this is Q is the bidirectional functional block. Q11 and Q12 is for offline handling of the charging profiles, as far as I remember. So those are rather small use cases, and Q09 is the local load balancing. So that would probably be a larger pull request. Yeah. should have been added to the slide. On the car communication side, we extended the EV manager with an option to select certain payment options and to enforce this from the EV side. For MCS related types and helpers have been added. There have been some adjustments to the EVSE manager to improve the AC ISO2 compatibility also with plug and charge. Marco already mentioned that the IEEE 2030 1.1 library skeleton has been added, which is basically CHAdeMO, and support for the EV side for ChargeBridge has been added inside the ChargeBridge tool. Yeah, and I think there's quite some work going on currently on the EV side to implement the -2 in DIP ISO 15118 and also the EV side for -20.
Maybe quick note on the CHAdeMO line item you just mentioned. Call out for everyone who is interested on something like CHAdeMO support. I say something because technically we are still in discussion with the CHAdeMO Association if you can file an official CHAdeMO library. So far, the IEEE standard looks like a really, really good workaround of that permission problem. So to us, to the community, whoever want to work on this code base with the community, please raise up. Now initial work has been done, so please continue. It's part of the library subfolder at EVerest Core, so it's no standalone library. It can act as a standalone library, but it's part of the mono-repo strategy. And second, like a political ask, whoever is interested in CHAdeMO support in EVerest, also let's say politically official CHAdeMO support, and not via IEEE 2030, please help us to reach out to the CHAdeMO organization and prove that there's even more demand and support for this. And if you don't know how to do that, just reach out to the Technical Steering Committee of EVerest, so EVerest -TSC at our mailing list. Yeah, I will put something in the emails and in the show notes.
Update from the VMT, that's maybe on Kai.
Yeah, sure. So as we haven't had a release in quite a while, the upcoming one will have various security fixes, and basically there will be a list in the change log of all the things that are already fixed or will be fixed in the upcoming days. So watch this space, but nothing else to report.
Release notes for February.
Yeah, a bit of a departure from the traditional style because we already had like the release notes of the release candidate last time, I think, or at least what we wanted to have in it. There will be more things. Pretty much the delta from the release candidate to the upcoming release candidate is actually what is in main, because we've been merging quite a lot of bug fixes and things like that. But yeah, we will publish that once it's available within the coming days, I think.
And community proposals. I think that's for you, Marco.
Well, go on the next slide, please. This, I think you can still see a navigation bar on the left for some reason. The EVerest, maybe share again. So this is about the Patent Defense Alliance Open Invention Network. I presented this, I think, back in October. Quick recap, what is this? I think it's an alliance started by Google, IBM, Toyota, Red Hat, Intel, a lot of the other big corporates in the IT space. to defend open source users from Linux systems from patent claims. So just because you're using Linux should not make you vulnerable. It works in a way that you're just joining that alliance. So far it was free. The change now happened is it's only free if you make less than 10 million revenue. On the other hand, like if you're between 10 and 50 million, it's just $1,000 a year. And I think even for billion-dollar corporates, it's just 20 something. So it's relatively cheap with a new structure set in place. That's slightly unfortunate, but it also has a good reason, and I think it's still reasonable from the amount of money they're looking for. So if you remember, they defend you. The question is, what is a Linux system? So what counts for Linux? And you can apply for that. They have basically lists of thousands of packages, and we apply to be part of list number 14 to be released next January. And by summer, we should know if we got accepted, but we got highly invited. So I hope this will work out. We added in total 8 different packages from the EVerest repository. You can see them here on the right. So if everything goes to our plan, if you're a member of the Open Invention Network 2.0, and if this got accepted, you're under a certain patent defense umbrella with all those companies helping each other on that. Yeah, that's it. So fingers crossed, we'll tell you more by summer. And thank you everyone for help with that. We had to do quite some short-term versioning and merging things together. So there had been a lot of last minutes preparation work. Thanks.
Yeah. The next topic that we wanted to discuss is AI-generated contributions, because we noticed that we get more of those also within the EVerest project. Also, many larger open source projects have some kind of policies, guidelines, or rules in place for those AI-generated or AI-assisted contributions. We linked a couple of examples for example, Matplotlib, Fedora, or also the recommendation from the Linux Foundation below. We also talked to the Linux Foundation that the link is basically what they provided to us, but they also said, basically every project can decide how to handle this and for certain rules by themselves. So, we don't have like any policy prepared or something that we can show to you, but I think on the right side you can see kind of a summary of best practices for AI assisted contributions from different open source projects, and having something in place that we can point to definitely makes sense. So we need to discuss maybe at the end of the meeting how we can get closer to such a policy or how we want to handle this moving forward. Okay, what else?
So a quick recap from the last Chargeman Operator Forum within EVerest. What was it? 17th of February. So there's a typo in the title. We had a couple of different discussions. There was a big discussion around error codes and observability of chargers from the cloud. First of all, I think there's a lot of people who try to harmonize error codes. The problem is there's meanwhile so many different harmonizations that you maybe need a meta harmonization, which one you want to actually choose. The latest effort is, I think, again from Charan. EVerest so far already supports certain fraction of the previous attempt from the ChargeX consortia with the MRECs, minimal required error codes. That's already in, and now there's Charan having a new initiative, and they even offered to help EVerest on that. So if you hear this, please follow up with us. We also got quite some discussion about, if you want to do AI and predictive maintenance, you just need better data in the cloud, and everyone is looking towards that. Then there was a lot of discussion around testing and emulation. We presented Pionix preview of a product which kind of runs EVerest in Docker container in the cloud. You can easily use an emulated EVerest chart and emulated EVerest car to test your CPMS systems. I think there was quite some interest in that. It was also noted that what those vendors see, the CPMS vendors in the CPO forum, that it's not only the OCP link which makes trouble, but the combination of OCPP and ISO. So the having car and charging station both emulated, ideally with different car flavors in the future, makes a difference. And there was also quite some discussion around load testing. Since the EVerest emulation we're running here, each EVerest instance will require an own Docker container. It's hard to scale it to 100,000 without having a small data center. But on the other hand, it's really, really detailed if you use that for testing. And we had that discussion. Had some discussion around how to improve on security and also AP upgrades. This will continue. Next meeting is 24th of March. If you want to sign up, let us know or just click the links. Upcoming events. So there's the Embedded World in Nuremberg in some weeks from now, with a lot of different electronic vendors. So it's more like the component level, not the charging station level. We have next CPO forum. We have an upcoming webinar together with EVerest and Sunspec that's terminated for the 25th of March. Invites will hopefully go out like in 2 weeks from now on LinkedIn and on the mailing lists. There's potentially even a hackathon around Sunspec and EVerest on the San Francisco Climate Week, end of April, I just learned. Yeah, and besides that, there are the usual Giant festivals, there are the usual OCA events. There's Power to Drive. I think that's one of the major events soon for this industry. Yeah, and ICNC, and then LF Energy Summit, and in between, very likely an EVerest hackathon. But we will keep you posted how this evolves. Yeah, and last but not least, we will meet again at the EVerest Technical Steering Committee at 26th of March, so in exactly 4 weeks this time. You find all our events in our calendar, and you can sign up to our emailing list below here, or just join us on the Zulip discussion. And that's it for the recording. Everything after this will cut out and jump into discussion.